Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another World of Warcraft Classic Guide. My name is Cargos, and today I'm very excited to present for your viewing pleasure a comprehensive warrior leveling guide for World of Warcraft 1.12. This is version 2 of the guide. We've since added some juicy nuggets like weapon progression all the way up to 60 for both Alliance and Horde. Was able to spend some time in the database finding all the weapons in the game, finding the relevant ones, sorting them by DPS all the way up to 60, stuff that will hopefully really help you guys out. I've since added some more tips and tricks to the guide, have revised some of the talent choices. I've since kind of flip-flopped on some stuff after getting some great feedback from you guys and some of the collaborators on this project, and stuff of that nature. So let us get started. Quick shout out to the people that helped out with this guide, most notably Tribe and Gilnash. Amazing, excellent warrior players. Gilnash, multi server first, warrior to 60. Tribe, another excellent leveler, slightly different leveling style, really known for his PvP contributions. You probably saw him on the PvP Summit, and also all the warriors that helped out in the various discords. Really appreciate you guys. So, we're going to skip the preface. Warrior leveling, pros and cons. So, on a surface level, warriors are the hardest class and the slowest class to level in the game. They are definitely challenging. They have slow leveling, low mobility, low sustain, high gear dependence on consumables, costly repairs. They're wearing mail, they're wearing plate, vulnerable out in open world PvP. They have difficulty farming gold. But if you watch a master warrior player level a warrior and just pilot a warrior with such finesse, it's like watching an artist at work. I mean, there is so much you can do to optimize your leveling experience as a warrior that it's kind of incredible. And a lot of the really hardcore vanilla enthusiasts, they just advocate for, like, you know, it's warrior or bust. Warriors, like, leveling a warrior offers you like the purest vanilla experience. It's highly engaging, high skill cap, epically challenging. You can tank as any spec. You can make use of any weapon type minus wands. And that, you know, it's that high return on investment when you finally get to 60. So if you're looking for a challenge, warrior might be for you. Before you level, though, I want to talk about a few things. The first thing is a swing timer add-on. So what is a swing timer? A swing timer is an add-on that you set up, and it allows you to track your natural auto attacks in a kind of visual way. You see this little bar here on the picture to the right. So as this bar fills up, it's basically representing your auto attack resetting and you getting ready to swing again. So you swing naturally as you're auto attacking, then you have a cooldown based on your weapon speed, and this just allows you to track that. So why is this important? Why is this information valuable? It's valuable so that you can use this technique called the Hamstring Method. This will be a method that will carry us all the way to 60. It's a very, very good way of mitigating damage. We'll get into it in a second. But it just allows you to weave both movement and your abilities between cooldowns in your auto attacks. So as this bar is filling up, you know that you're free to move, you know that you're free to use abilities, and you're not clipping into your natural auto attack cycle. The Hamstring Method. From level 8 onwards, when you get Hamstring rank 1, you can start utilizing this method to mitigate damage against your enemies. So what is it? How does it work? So basically, mobs out in the open world, they have higher attack speed than you, and they have higher movement speed than you. So if you're just going to sit there and face tank a mob, you might trade one of your auto attacks with your big, slow, clunky two-hander for 1.5 or even 2+ of their auto attacks based on their attack speed. So if executed properly, the Hamstring Method will allow you to trade one hit for one hit with a target, drastically reducing your damage taken while not reducing your damage at all, since you're monitoring your natural auto attacks with the swing timer. So how does it work? You basically want to charge in, keep your battle shout applied. You're going to swing with your weapon, so your auto attack will now be on cooldown. Now, between, you know, in the interim before your weapon resets and you're able to swing again, you're going to apply a hamstring and start side strafing out of the mob's hitbox, not exposing your back to the mob, because then you are vulnerable to the daze mechanic and you don't want to get dazed. So you will apply a hamstring and strafe out of range of the mob's hitbox. It will not be able to hit you, and you will not be able to hit it, but it's okay because your auto attack is still cooling down, if that makes sense. So then as you're getting ready to swing again and that bar is filling up, you're going to position yourself and re-enter that mob's hitbox, hit it with another auto attack, followed by an ability, like most, you know, especially early on in the game, before you get Mortal Strike and stuff, that's going to be Rend. And then you will, again, strafe out of the mob's hitbox, and you will rinse and repeat, keeping uptime 100% uptime on Hamstring when it's going to be efficient to do so. You don't want to apply Hamstring just as it's about to die, but it's essentially like that. I wish I could demonstrate it for you, but I hope that makes sense. All right, so the next thing is you're going to want to have start attack macros. So what are start attack macros? Start attack macros are things that you set up so you don't miss out on damage. So oftentimes, like let's say you have no rage and you're trying to rend a target and you don't have auto attack on your bars because you're not a weirdo. You're just going to be standing there like a monkey. You'd have to right click the mob manually. So having a start attack macro baked into all of your abilities will make it so that even if you don't have the rage to cast a heroic strike or a rend, you will still at least be auto attacking that target and you won't be missing damage. So in vanilla, they didn't have the / start attack command. You'd have to download something like super macros to make that work. So you have to use this little bit kind of a wonky script here. As you can see, here's an example on the right. Basically, you have to take your auto attack and put it on your like hidden second bar, and then put it on the to make this specific macro work. Then put your auto attack on the rightmost slot. That's going to correspond to use action 24 because that's the 24th slot. But you can use really any inventory slot ID that you would like. You can look up and find there's many pictures out there that will show you what number corresponds to which slot. But that's pretty much the gist of it. Alright, so general tips. Ideally, you want to fight mobs that are equal level or 1 to 2 levels below you. You want to generally, as a warrior, out-level the zones and the content that you're going through. You are pretty vulnerable as a warrior. You can't really fight multiple mobs at once that efficiently. So, being higher level than what you're killing will allow you to hit more often. It will give you a higher margin for error. If you pull an extra mob or something, you're not just going to die. That's what you should strive for. And if you are falling behind as a warrior, and this often happens just in vanilla in general, and you're going into an area where mobs are higher level than you, what you need to do is you need to go find an area that's going to give you good XP per hour, and you're just going to grind there for a couple levels and catch up. That will happen, and just know that will happen. You will have to do that. All right, so this is my disclaimer. I say this with like every class, but if you're at 100% health as a warrior, you're probably misplaying. You need to push your combat efficiency more. You got to chain pull faster. You got to take some more calculated risks. But if you're just sitting there at full resources, you're missing out on some value, and you're likely misplaying. All right, so the next thing is don't overkill your mobs with your abilities. Don't just execute something because you can execute something. There's a lot of value in pooling your rage. Don't just heroic strike something because you can heroic strike something. Just finish it off with auto attacks. You don't have to actually use your abilities on them. And being able to pool your rage is going to help you. The higher level you get, the more rage starved you get. In my experience, when you need like when you're just like mortal striking on cooldown, oftentimes you're not going to have the rage to mortal strike. So just make sure you're spending your rage efficiently and just pool it up whenever possible. You don't have to dump it with heroic strike every time. So keep your food and first aid up to date. You don't have a lot of heal or sustain as a warrior, so that's definitely a big part of the equation. Your downtime. So having good food and first aid will minimize that downtime and thus speed up your leveling process. Little tips and tricks you can do, stuff like blood rage bandaging. If you're not familiar with this, blood rage puts you in combat. It just takes a little bit of health away, and let's say you kill mob 1. In between, and you're low on health, but you want to kill mob 2, and you have some rage pooled up. You can blood rage and bandage. Your rage will not decay because you're technically in combat while blood rage is ticking. You can bandage yourself up, engage that second mob, and have all that rage you had before. All right, so have a weapon progression plan in mind, and thankfully we have that baked into this guide towards the end. So look into everything I have listed there and come up with your own little strategy there, but definitely have a weapon progression plan in mind. It is so important. As a warrior, it is more important to have a relevant weapon with good stats than all of your primary stats like strength and agility and stuff like that. They don't really move the needle that much, but your weapon moves it more than anything. So if you see a mage, ask for as many stacks of food as you can, tip them, get the intellect buff. The intellect will help you with your weapon skill. Oftentimes as you're leveling, your weapon skill won't be maxed, so anything will help. Keep a one-hander and a shield on you always for shield bash interrupts. Starting at level 12, you get shield bash. Pummel you get way later, it's like 30 something, so it's important that you have a one-hander and a shield on you. You can interrupt heals, you can interrupt like fireballs and stuff like that. Really good to have. And then if you want to save as much gold as possible as a warrior. It's tough to farm up gold as a warrior. You have costly repair bills, yada yada yada. You're upgrading your weapon a lot. You know, it's not like you're a feral druid or something. So skip the majority of the protection of your protection skills when training. I barely ever do any tanking when I'm leveling a warrior. If you are going to tank, just take the bare minimum. You can also save money on training stuff like Thunderclap, Cleave, Overpower, Shield Bash. The further ranks don't really increase the damage very much at all. It's kind of negligible, and the effect increase is kind of negligible. Like for Thunderclap, I think it just increases the duration or something, so it's really not that good. Same with Overpower and stuff, so you can save money on these. Alright, Life Pre-Level 10. Train First Aid and Skinning. Use whatever weapon has the highest DPS regardless of type. Don't be afraid to use a staff or a polearm or a one-hander if it has higher DPS. Just use your brain. Really, there's a lot of really good staffs out there that have amazing DPS out there in vanilla, so keep it in mind. Of course, you have to have the weapon proficiency to use it, though. Save every single copper. You will need every single copper. And here's the basic rotation. At level 10, you can start doing at level 8, you can start doing the hamstring method, as we talked about. But you're going to want to charge in generally. Sometimes charge is going to be a liability. There's going to be lots of mobs around. In that case, just face pull up until you can train your ranged weapon attack. So yeah, you're going to charge in, keep your battle shout up. You know, hit him with the auto attack, hamstring, rend, etc., etc. If you're fighting multiple targets, you can tab target rend, so make sure you're keeping rend up on both targets. You can use Thunderclap if you're fighting 2+ mobs, but use it at your discretion, and only really if the mobs you're fighting have higher attack speed. Then at that point, there's sort of a certain critical level where it becomes worth it to use it. Also at level 10, do your defensive stance quest. Alright, so now we're going to talk about talents. So before we switch over to the other screen, I'll talk about just our general game plan when it comes to talents. We're going to start with Two-Handed Fury, all the way up to at minimum level 36 when we get Whirlwind. Some people at this point will want to respec and start cleaving down multiple mobs at the same time with Sweeping Strikes and Whirlwind. But some people like Gilnash, multi-server first warrior, recommend staying Fury, Two-Handed Fury, all the way up to 40. Then at 40, you will respec into Arms to have access to the Mortal Strike ability, and then you will proceed back down the Fury tree again. So now we're going to switch over to that other screen, and I will go through the talent build. Alright, so you're level 10, you want to invest your talent points. You're going to start in Fury, and you're going to go 5 out of 5 Cruelty, increasing your critical strike chance. It's a phenomenal talent. And then, in the last version of the guide, I went 5 out of 5 Unbridled Wrath. When fully maxed out, it gives you a 40% chance to generate an additional rage point when you deal damage with a weapon. Now, upon further consideration and talking it out with people like Gilnash, I've kind of been sold on the idea of going Booming Voice here. Monkey News also advocates for this. You know, there's PvP applications like as Monkey stated, where he says you can get rogues out of stealth because your demo shout's going to have a bigger increase of area, but you're mainly using this because you're going to get more consistent value out of this by not having to battle shout as much. It's also just going to be less annoying. So I do think, you know, when you have a big, slow, clunky two-handed weapon, having a 40% chance to generate one additional rage point is just not as good as this, I now believe. So the next thing we're going to do is get Piercing Howl at 1 point. This is a fantastic ability. It's going to save your life. When you pull too much, you're going to be able to escape with this. It's good in PvP. Really good ability. We're going to go 3 out of 3 Blood Craze. We're going to go 1 into Improve Battle Shout. We're going to go 5 into Enrage. We're going to go Death Wish at 30. 2 into Improve Execute. Back up to Improve Battle Shout, 2 points. We're going to go 5 into Flurry. At this point, we're level 39. When we get 40, we will respec into Arms. So, before we go over to Arms and respec, I'll just talk about some of these really quick. So, this is your little crit synergy package here, Blood Craze and Enrage. Basically, once these come online, you're going to start doing a /sit macro. So you're going to charge in, sit. When you're sitting down, a mob will critically strike you 100% of the time, so you can control when you get crit. So you will have a 100% uptime, 25%, almost 100% uptime, 25% melee damage bonus. You will also regenerate a little bit of your health through Blood Craze and definitely make up for whatever that additional critical strike damage was. And then every time you crit, not every time you get crit, you will proc Flurry, and Flurry will increase your attack speed by 30% for your next 3 swings after dealing a melee critical strike. And Death Wish will give you some more on-demand burst on a cooldown. Alright, so at 40 we will reset, and we are going to spec out like this. We're going to go 3 into Improve Rend, 2 into Deflection, 5 into Tactical Mastery, 1 into Anger Management, 3 into Deep Wounds, 1 into Improved Overpower, 2 into Impale, back into Overpower, 1, 2 into Two-Handed Weapon Specialization, down to Sweeping Strikes. We're going to go 5 out of 5 Axe Specialization, and then we're going to go 2 more into Two-Handed Weapon Specialization. We're going to go 2 into Improved Charge, and finish with one into Mortal Strike. So this is what you're going to look like at 40. Some of the noteworthy stuff here. First thing is anger management. Some of you might know, some of you might not know. There's a hidden passive underneath this tooltip here. The tooltip doesn't do this talent justice. It's very counterintuitive. But anger management basically makes it so every time you're in combat, you are generating 1 rage every 3 seconds, which will add up. Which will add up as you're fighting, and that definitely makes anger management worth it. It also increases the time required for your rage to decay while out of combat by 30%. The other thing that's a little bit different than some of the builds is getting improved charge. I've noticed from 40 plus, once you have Mortal Strike, like I said before, you'll be rage starved a lot of the time, and you won't. Mortal Strike will be off cooldown, but you won't be able to use it because you don't have sufficient rage. So in these short fights with mobs, where it's not like in a super long boss fight or something like that, I like getting this little tempo value out of improved charge. I like being able to get off that first Mortal Strike more consistently, faster. So I prefer improved charge. Some people might want to drop that talent into improved hamstring and get 1 more point into two-handed weapon specialization. But, you know, different strokes for different folks. So you're going to proceed down back into the Fury tree, 5 out of 5, cruelty into booming voice, pretty much exactly what we did before. And then you're going to finish off 5 out of 5 in rage. You should be 60 at this point, and you can respec as you see fit. Alright, so now we talked about talents for a little bit. We're going to talk about life pre-level 20, 10 to 20. So at this stage, you're still very much a single target type of playstyle. You don't really have the tools to handle multiple targets at once, and even if you try to engage multiple targets, you're not just going to be killing them that efficiently. So just killing one at a time is going to be your best bet. Keep that one-hander and shield on you starting at level 12 when you get the shield bash. Upgrade your food at level 15 to get the 552 HP per 24-second food. You can skip Mocking Blow and as much as possible in the Prot tree given your playstyle. And here's a little sample of the rotation as we talked about before. Life 20 to 40. So as soon as you get Blood Craze at 21, you can start practicing sitting mid-combat with a /sit macro. This is going to do what we talked about before. It's going to make you get crit 100% of the time. It doesn't really heal that much, but you can start really integrating this into your rotation, getting comfortable with it. And then once you get in Rage at level 25, it's going to be a bit more impactful. So it's pretty much going to be like this. You're going to charge in, make sure you keep Battle Shout up. You're going to auto-attack, you're going to sit down, you're going to get crit, and you're going to auto-attack, hamstring, move out of range of the hitbox, rinse and repeat, and you're going to basically integrate the sitting into your hamstring method. So it just becomes a little bit more APM intensive, and it's a little annoying, but it's definitely worth it. It's going to speed up your leveling time significantly. Then at 30, you're going to do your Berserker Stance quest. That's where you go off to that island and kill Big Will. For him, it may seem a little tough at first glance, but if you use the hamstring method, you should have no problem. Alright, 40 to 60. This is where you have access to all your tools. You have your sweeping strikes, you have your Mortal Strike. At this stage of the game, you're going to get into a little rhythm of killing one mob first and pooling rage against that one mob, and then transitioning to fight 2 mobs right after that. We're going to cleave them down with sweeping strikes, whirlwind, cleave, and you're going to execute him. So the first mob you're not going to execute, you're going to pool rage against him, charge in, straightforward hamstring method rotation, prioritizing Mortal Strike. And then if you're getting low off that first mob or you need to heal or whatever, you can do the Blood Rage Bandage between the pulls. Then you're going to engage 2 mobs. You're going to, charge in there, expend a rage efficiently, pop sweeping strikes, go into Berserker Stance. Then you're going to prioritize Whirlwind, Cleave, Mortal Strike, Execute. That's going to be your priority against the 2 mobs, and there is a 30-second cooldown on sweeping strikes. So this is going to be your little 1-2 punch. You're going to kill 1, kill 2, kill 1, kill 2, kill 1, kill 2. Just get used to the rhythm. That's pretty much going to take you to 60. Alright, so talking about stats now. So strength increases your attack power. With melee weapons, you get 2 attack power per point of strength. Also improves the amount you can block with a shield, but not the chance. Agility increases your attack power with ranged weapons. Not super impactful, but mainly the reason why you want agility. And warriors are all about crit. You gain 1% critical chance for each 20 points of agility. It also increases your chance to dodge attacks. For every 20 points in agility, you will gain 1% chance to dodge. So, crit is everything to a warrior. So agility, even though you may think like, wow, you don't really get much value out of the ranged weapon attack power, crit is just so important. It's just so key to just making all of your talents and rotation come alive with your deep wounds package and all that good stuff. So, stat priority. So your number 1 priority is keeping your weapon relevant. good DPS on your weapon, good weapon speed on your weapon, good damage range with good top end. This is going to be more impactful than your base stats like strength or agility, spirit, stuff like that. So on the first guide, I didn't feel super comfortable recommending this, but after further investigation and talking with some more qualified warriors, I'm sort of convinced that pre-level 30, where sustain is a priority, you can prioritize spirit if you'd like as your first stat. Why spirit is so impactful as a warrior, warriors gain a lot from spirit, and each additional point of spirit is more impactful than the last one. It kind of snowballs, it kind of compounds on itself, and it's going to reduce your downtime considerably. Stacking stuff like strength and agility, of course, it does move the needle, but it doesn't move the needle that much. You know, if you were to get like 14 strength, through an amazing weapon or something, that's only going to increase your DPS by like 2, which may shave off like a second off your kill time. So stuff like spirit, where it's shaving a couple seconds off your downtime, is going to potentially be more impactful. But the later you get in the game, like past level 30, you are going to start weaning off that spirit and prioritizing agility, then strength, then stamina, then spirit, then intellect. So the reason why you would prioritize agility over strength, it's close though, but you really are so crit starved as a warrior that agility is going to be your number one thing that you're going to want to get. It's going to just make all of your talents come alive, your deep wounds package, all that whole synergy there. But you can pretty much view agility and strength equally. That's how I'd put it. But I'd say agility gets the slight edge over stamina, spirit, and intellect. Alright, now we're going to talk about weapon progression. I won't get into everything here, but I have it sorted out by DPS, lowest DPS all the way up to highest, going all the way up to 60. As you can see, this is just Alliance, and it's like 4 or 5 slides. But there's some good stuff here. So stuff like large axe at level 3, just buy it from the weapon vendor. If you use maces, like if you're torn or something, you can buy the wooden mallet. You get your level 10 class quest one-handed weapon, copper battle axe, tabar. That's another white weapon sold by the major city weapon vendors. That's really good at level 9. There's also faction specific quest rewards like Edge of the People's Militia. But one thing to keep in mind is those roaming vendors in vanilla that sell like limited items, limited green items, especially on a fresh realm environment, the weapons they sell are sick. They're absolutely sick. So stuff like Executioner's Sword, Blessed Claymore, what else? Heavy Spiked Mace. These are sold by vendors. These are green uncommon BOEs that are sold by vendors, and they're really, really good. I mean, they have amazing DPS, great stats. They got a ton of strength on them and stuff, but they are limited. So knowing where the vendors are and rushing over to them, saving your money appropriately so you can buy them ASAP, especially on a fresh realm environment, is going to give you a big advantage. Let's see. But yeah, I'm not going to go through everything. You can take a look at these. This goes all the way up to 60. The ones highlighted in red are the ones that I highly recommend. And I'm not including BOE green drops, like the vendor ones I'm including. But the BOE green drops, you can't like plan to get those things. You might be able to snag them off trade or something. But yeah, I'm not including those. And then here's the Horde one. But yeah, definitely take a look at that, guys. And that is going to be it for this guide. We covered a good amount. I hope it was helpful for you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if there's anything I can do for you, hit me up. Come into the Discord. If I don't have an answer for you, I can probably get a hold of someone who does have an answer for you. And as always, I really appreciate the support, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.